submit your extension, then other people can then, when they install LNBits, they have access to it and can make use of it. So a great one, in fact, is, this is a recent one by Lee from down in Costa Rica. And this was just invoices. So you can just like literally create an invoice and give it to somebody, and then it has a link for them to pay in Lightning for different things. And they can also pay down as well. So the functionality we have in LNBits is just endless. But yeah, if you think of it as your WordPress for your node, that's a nice way of thinking about it. So one example, Callie's recently built on LNBits, because Callie's been working on Cashew, which is a Chaumian eCache. For those who weren't in his talk, Chaumian eCache is a way, say if we're a custodian, we can have a blinded relationship with our users, so we can't really see what they're spending funds on. We can run a mint, and it's pegged in and out of Lightning, and they can use these tokens, these eCache tokens, but we're unaware of what people are spending funds on, which is really nice. So if I go, I haven't got this running because this hasn't been merged in yet with LNBits, but I can show you actually a demo of it running. So if I go to, where are we? Okay, so I have an eCache wallet here, which has got some funds on. In fact, I think I have that on my phone as well, which would be a nice demo. Yeah, here we go. So I've got a wallet on my phone, an eCache wallet, where the tokens are actually stored locally on my phone, which is nice. But because you're pegging in and out of Lightning, if you're, even though you're using eCache, say the merchant can generate a Lightning invoice on his point of sale. Okay? And then I can, no one pay that please. I can scan that with my eCache wallet. And then this is going to automatically peg out, there we are. So this is going to automatically peg out that eCache with the mint. So essentially, the merchant generated a Lightning invoice, but I was able to use a eCache token, which I've got saved on my device, and the custodial doesn't know my transaction history. I'm able to use that directly with Lightning, which is pretty cool. And again, Callie's made this great, wonderful thing, Cashew, which brings Chaumian eCache to lots of people. And one of the easiest ways to bring it to people is you just make an LNBits extension. So soon we will just have another extension in LNBits. You'll be able to enable an eCache mint, and then go in there, create a new mint, and then you have a wallet link you can give out to people. People can pay an invoice, and then it goes to your wallet, and then you issue these eCache tokens, which they can use inside their wallet. So it's very powerful technology. And again, just showing how useful it is to have one piece of software which you can add this extra functionality onto. So currently, I don't want to go too much just covering all the different extensions, because I could just go on and on covering all the different extensions. I want to show kind of some of the new functionality we've got coming up. So the way LNBits is currently is all these extensions are just packaged in when you install LNBits on your node, and then you're just enabling and disabling them. But the ultimate goal is to have that WordPress experience where we're actually pulling in an extension and then installing it. So this way, you'll install LNBits, and it'll just be the core LNBits wallet's account system. And then when you when you want an extension, you're actually installing it and you're pulling it from a repository. So we've got a demo of this. This hasn't been merged in again, and I don't think anyone's actually anyone's seen this yet. Here we go. Right. So if I click on Advanced, all right. So you can see here we have a whole bunch of extensions which don't exist on our server. And say if I want an extension, what do I want? Bolts. So Bolts is a great extension. This was contributed by DNI. He's here, actually. And this allows you to loop out from Lightning to on-chain. So say that cafe, who's accumulating all that Bitcoin through that point of sale, they can set an amount. So say when this wallet hits 200,000 sats, I want it to loop out to my on-chain address, which I find personally very exciting. So in El Salvador, you have kind of a circular economy where people can accept Bitcoin Lightning payments and then go spend it in McDonald's or whatever. But in much of Europe, the cafe or the bar owner, they want to use those payments to accumulate some Bitcoin. So this way, they can accept Bitcoin payments for their beer, and then when it gets to a certain amount, loop out to an on-chain address and just have it, collect into their hardware wallet somewhere nice and safe. So I installed, what did I install? Oh, the Bolts extension. So I need to activate it, and then if I go to manage extensions, then we should see that there we are, Bolts is enabled there. So what that actually went and did then is we have this repo, LNBits extensions, and then the extensions themselves have just been zipped and submitted to this repo, and that's all the extensions there. And we just pulled that extension from the zip file, unzipped it, installed it directly into LNBits, and you just saw how well and seamlessly it worked. What that means for LNBits of software is that we can now get core audited, because we're still in beta, we can get core audited and then make sure core's really locked down, and these extensions then are kind of verified buyers in this registry. And when people want to submit an extension to the registry, they just submit like a few details in this JSON file as a PR, and then also that zip file. But also, if you want to install your sketchy extension, which someone's sharing on some Telegram group, then you can install that as well as a zip file, but you know, you might lose your funds. So that's some functionality which I'm quite excited about, which is coming out very soon. And then as well as that, we have, so I started working on this software and got the software started because I was making hardware devices like points of sale, ATMs, vending machines, those sorts of things. And they all needed to have access to my node and my node keys. And I thought, well, that kind of sucks. I want them just to have access to their own wallet. So I kind of come from the hardware side of things. And a lot of my hardware projects and the hardware projects I started, they all work now with LNBits. So for me as a developer, it means that instead of making, like, say if I make a point of sale, it's not like before it would be, well, I've made an LND point of sale, or I've made a core lightning point of sale, and now I'm going to do an Eclair implementation. Now I can just develop for LNBits, and because LNBits can sit on top of pretty much any funding source, it means that I can just develop for LNBits a point of sale, and by proxy, it means that that point of sale is now compatible with all these different node implementations. So yeah, it's really nice to develop for. If you are a developer, we have a pretty comprehensive API, which you can get to if you just go docs here. Then we have a pretty comprehensive API, which you can access through the Swagger tool generated by Fast API, and then you can actually test all those endpoints and start using those endpoints in your stack or whatever in your software. So if we go to LNURL device, this is an extension which I built for the hardware. We have here a switch, a Bitcoin switch. So the idea with this project is I want a little cheap piece of hardware like this, and I want to be able to turn things on by someone paying a payment link. Someone's making a Lightning transaction, and I want something to turn on. So in the extension itself, it generates a WebSocket. This is connected to the LNBits server, and it's listening to that WebSocket, waiting for something to happen. And then when I make a payment, let's see if the LED turns on. I actually think this machine is also connected to it as well. So if we're lucky, we might have something happen there as well. So if I scan this payment link and then pay, oh, somebody's already paid, there we go. So we have the LED turn on. Now there is I think 'cause I'm pulling too much power for the microcontroller in here, let me turn on some bubbles. I think because I'm pulling too much power, then it kind of trips out. You saw the LED turned on for like 3 seconds. That's what's supposed to happen. It's what's supposed to happen here as well. But I think it's bugging out because I'm pulling too much power down the USB. So yeah, so if I show you how that works. I'll be doing workshops for all this stuff, by the way, downstairs today and tomorrow. I've got a ton of electronics down here where people can make these Bitcoin switches. Initially, we start off when we just pay to turn on this little LED. I'll do it again. Initially, we just, so no one pay this. We just pay to turn on the little LED. 3 seconds. There we are, that worked that time. And then we connect a relay. So a relay is like a little physical switch, which you can turn on and off by setting a high pin from this little microcontroller, okay? And then all this hardware, I mean, my workshops are free, but all this hardware is like less than $5. And with this hardware, I can turn anything on using Bitcoin, which is super exciting. And you'll notice as well that it says switch pin 27 on. So if I go here to make a new switch, I can set multiple switches and then turn on multiple GPIOs. So this one little microcontroller here could power an entire vending machine and turn on the motors to spit out the products for the vending machine. So it becomes very powerful. Programming these little devices can be a bit troublesome because you need to install the Arduino IDE, and it gets a little bit convoluted and complicated. So What we have built and we've linked to here is some really easy installers where we can actually install just via a web page, via a website. We've got internet issues again. I know it's an internet issue because it's GitHub, but it's a GitHub link, so it should come up a lot faster. Yeah, look at that. Hopefully that'll work in a second. So yeah, we have the Bitcoin switch, but then also, let's go back here. In the same LNURL device extension, we can also create a point of sale, and we can also use it for an ATM as well, and sell sats to people. So I have these little offline point of sale devices, which I'll be doing workshops for, and anyone's welcome to join. I got like 23 kits or something, and we even printed out some nice little cases, which are adopting Bitcoin themed cases. And we just got a little bit cheap piece of hardware right here. So this is like $15, and then cheap 3D printed case, and we've got a little LiPo battery as well. And then we put it all together, and then we get ourselves a nice little point of sale which you can use to accept Bitcoin payments. So yeah, LNBits itself is a very, very powerful tool. Has a whole bunch of functionality no matter what you're into and no matter what your use case is. For me, it's hardware. For Kali, it's Cashew and eCash. For DNI, it's the bolts extension, so we can do loop outs to on-chain. It's a really diverse and interesting tool. And then what becomes really interesting is when you start mixing some of these extensions. So we saw the eCash extension there, but we have a PR in LNBits. You get to see how busy the repo is now. So we have a PR in LNBits, and it's by a project called Standard Sats. And Standard Sats does high-frequency hedging to peg an amount of sats to a fiat amount. And by mixing something like the Standard Sats extension, which hasn't been merged in yet, and I haven't got it running here, but we should be able to find it in here somewhere. Say if you're using that extension with the eCash extension, you could theoretically have an eCash stablecoin, like pegged to USD or something. And then the stability is kind of managed by the extension, which has high-frequency hedging happening with some exchange. So that's pretty cool, pretty impressive. So a whole bunch of PRs, which we need to go through and merge or boot or whatever. But yeah, very, very powerful tool. I'm actually going to, should we do another demo? So we see if we can flash one of these and turn this into a point of sale. How much time have we got? 5 minutes. Have we got enough time? Maybe we haven't got enough time to do this. If anyone wants to make one of these, I'll be downstairs doing workshops, so come and make one with me. We can also, you do the Bitcoin switch thing. Hardware wallet. We also have an on-chain wallet extension, which is very nice, very powerful. So if I go to on-chain wallet here, this on-chain wallet extension is able to have an XPub, an on-chain XPub, and then you're able to generate fresh addresses, and then also generate PSBTs, and then send the PSBTs to a signing device. And then we've also built a signing device as well. Yeah, more internet issues here. We've also built a signing device, a cheap DIY hardware signing device, which you can use to actually sign transactions and use as a hardware wallet, which is very nice. So I've also got like 20 kits to do that as well. So if anyone wants to come and do a workshop on that, that'd be great. And I think I'm just going to go to questions because I've literally got like 4 minutes left. So is there any questions? That was kind of a whiz through on all the updates we've got. It might be a little bit disorientating, but if there's anything you're interested in, just come and grab me, Kali, DNI, someone, and talk to us about it. Yeah, if you're using LNBits for anything as part of your stack, then if you're building on top of it, then one of the great things about coming to a conference is people coming up to me and saying, oh, wow, yeah, we're using LNBits as part of our stack. We're doing this with it and that's with it. Because we obviously don't know what people are using it for because it's a free and open source project. Here's another thing which I forgot to mention. We are also, in order to help get funds in so we can make bounties and pay developers and stuff, we've also got a shop which we're setting up. We're actually launching it today. And then from this shop, you can buy our hardware wallet. You can buy the point of sale. You could buy kits, like the Bitcoin Switch kit for developing the Bitcoin Switch thing. There's also some swag. There's the Bitcoin stamps, which are these little buy Bitcoin stamps, and they're very cheap. You can stamp notes and people's faces with them. We got this is a great project which no one's seen. So yeah. This is an unveiling. So this is called Gertie, and Gertie's a little Bitcoin assistant. So it's kind of like a block clock type thing, and it just keeps an eye on the price, and then also the mempool, and Bitcoin's hash rate and that sort of stuff. And you've got all these little different screens which it hops between, some nice little e-paper display. So that's a nice little project. Again, it's all free and open source. You can build it yourself, or if you want to, you can get it from our little shop. This is quite cool. I'll show you this before I finish. So one of the first things I did with the Bitcoin Switch is I replaced the coin mech in an arcade machine, so you can pay some Bitcoin over Lightning, and then it triggers a coin mech. It's the same as triggering a coin going in, and then you get a credit. So there's this nice little project called Pandora Box, which is this arcade machine which comes preloaded with a bunch of classic arcade games, and then we replace the coin button with this little Bitcoin Switch and a little QR code, and you can scan it and then pay for credits on the arcade machine. Can anyone tell me why we've got two different faceplates. One's by San Francisco Bitcoin, which is this really nice kind of arcade scene, and then the other one we've got here is Adventures of Tron. Does anyone know why this Adventures of Tron is on here? I'll tell you. Let me tell you. So this is quite fitting because obviously we have Fran Finney here. So Adventures of Tron was a game made by Mattel in 1982, and then if we go down to the where are we? If we go down to the designer of Adventures of Tron, there he is. There's our man Hal Finney. Oh, you can't see it, but there's Hal Finney. So back in 1982, Hal Finney made the Adventures of Tron for the Atari, and on the back of the game box, it says Tron is in a digital world and he has to get collectibles. And it's quite nice to imagine Hal Finney sat back in his chair thinking, oh, collectibles, digital world. So that's quite a nice homage to our man Hal. But again, you can just buy one of these off AliExpress if you want and build it yourself. So I think that's it. I think I've covered pretty much all the updates we've got currently. Also, if you want to play around with Callie's Cashew project, if you go to cashew.space, there's a really nice write-up about Cashew, and then there's also a link as well. Yeah, here we are, to get to the demo web wallet, where you can pay for some tokens, and then if there's a couple of you can spend each other tokens, or you can actually use it to make a Lightning payment as well, and it'll just kind of figure it all out for you. So check that out. It's brilliant. And I think, that's it. Any questions? Thank you. And don't forget to come and check out the workshops as well, okay? I've tidied up all this mess now.